Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Joseph Maida. I'm the chair of the BFA Photo and Video Department, and it's really awesome to see all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time and making the commitment to show up here in person. It's really awesome to be able to welcome a group. This is actually the first time I've been able to talk to a large group since the pandemic began. And it's so awesome to be together because I think something we value so much in my department is community. And being together is one of the ways that we get to know each other, we get to learn, and we get to expand our mind and possibilities. So it's so awesome to welcome all of you. And today we're going to be giving you've got an introduction to the college. So now you know a little bit more about SVA than perhaps you did before you arrived this morning. As the head of the photo and video department, it's my great honor to be able to introduce you to my department. And our department is awesome, and it's awesome for a number of reasons. It's awesome because we have a great curriculum, so the classes that you take are really thoughtful to prepare each and every one of you to be successful in your creative endeavors after school, which is why you go to school in the first place. It's also awesome because we have state-of-the-art facilities and equipment. We have the best facilities and equipment of any program, not only in New York City, but in the United States. And our presentation today is going to be for about 45 minutes, and then we want you all to please go over to our actual facility. Our building is on the east side of campus. We're currently on the west side, so this is West 23rd, and our building lives at East 21st Street, and you'll all be taking a shuttle after this presentation to actually see our facilities. Please make sure you come and see our facilities because as creative people, as artists, as photographers, as video artists, we need great tools to do what we do, and we want you to see how awesome our tools are firsthand. Since you're here in person, it's a great opportunity to not only see our facility, but to actually get to meet some of my colleagues, see some of our faculty at work, and actually see how the tools get put to use to make great output. The other thing that makes our department quite amazing is our special programs and projects. During the year, we host a number of exhibitions, a number of panel discussions, special events that are sometimes specifically for our students, others that are publicly facing for the broader community, and you'll be able to learn more about that when you're at our building later this afternoon. The most important part about what makes BFA Photo and Video so awesome is our community. Community, as I said before, is super important. We're all here today in person. It feels amazing to be in the room with all of you. We value community tremendously, and our community consists not only of our incredible students, but also of our faculty who meet with the students regularly and instruct them in their work, with our staff, my colleagues who I work with to actually make sure that our department runs smoothly and is a robust programming to best prepare our students for their futures, as well as our alumni. The alumni are an incredible part of our community, and while I won't be talking too much about alumni today at this presentation, when you get over to 214 East 21st Street, in addition to a tour of our facilities, we have a special floor on the second floor of what we're calling showcases. And in each of these rooms, we've showcased a different aspect of our community. One of the rooms is alumni showcase, and please spend a little time in that room. We've prepared a special video to introduce you virtually to some of the awesome alumni who have moved through our department to give you an understanding of all the great things you can do with a BFA Photo and Video degree. We also have a faculty showcase room where you can understand who our incredible faculty are. So make sure you spend some time at the end of your tour in our facility on the second floor, where these showcase rooms will give you a bit more of an introduction to members of our community. And we also have a special room with a bunch of great takeaways so you can learn more about our program and our community. To give you kind of an overview, because our department is so multifaceted, and we do a lot. I've prepared a special video that I'd like to share with you that'll give you kind of a summation of what I've just talked about. So with that, we'll share a brief video that's kind of an overview and a highlight of who BFA Photo and Video is.
small capacity of the class also helps to create the highly engaging relationship between the professor, the classmates, and you.
I think SVA BFA Photo and Video is actually a world-class art program in a world-class city. And I think that it's special because of where it is, but it's more special because of who we are.
So that's just kind of an overview. Everything that you saw there will be fleshed out more in our building at 214 East 21st Street, and you can learn more about our faculty, our alumni, our resources and facilities, and special programs and projects. I want to say one more remark before we introduce our student panel, who will be able to give you a firsthand account of what their experience has been in our department and answer some of your questions. But this morning, as I was coming over to SVA, I thought, how awesome is it to have the opportunity today to reflect back on my own experience, to think, how did I end up here? How did I end up standing at the podium as the chair of this department? And I was trying to think back to when I was 18 and trying to make some decisions about what my life would be. And I realized that we're all here today because of a series of choices that we've made, right? You've made a series of choices that somehow have brought us together. And we're all in this room because of those choices, and here we are together now. And I was reflecting on a couple of the choices that I made and thinking about how much I already know I have in common with all of you, even though we haven't really met before. So I was trying to think, what's the common interest? Obviously, we're all excited about photography and video, but I was able to identify a couple of other commonalities that connect me and all of you even before we met. And I want to sort of stress two things that I was thinking about. The first is that when I was 18, I decided on college based on where I wanted to be, which was New York City. I applied to about 10 schools and got into some really good schools, but I wanted to come to New York so badly. So I actually made my decision purely based on wanting to be in New York, which I do not regret because here I am still. So much of my success is actually based on the relationships that I formed being here in the city. The city is not only the epicenter and the heart of culture within the United States, but it's really one of the satellites of culture and sort of forward thinking in the world. So being in New York has been super important to me getting to where I am, and all of you recognizing the importance of choosing New York as a place to look for college really connects us. The other decision that I realize we share is choosing SVA. So my trajectory was, I came to New York, I went to Columbia University first, and then went on to Yale. And when I graduated from Yale University, I knew that I wanted to be an artist and return to New York. I came back to New York, and I made three important choices at that moment. One was to focus on remaining engaged with my practice as an artist. And I was able to get a solo show at a gallery called Wallspace in 2002. I also contacted a lot of photo editors because of the amazing network I had established in college and graduate school, and landed my first, at that time, 5-page spread in the New York Times Magazine. And the third decision was, I applied for some teaching jobs, and one of those teaching jobs was to SVA. I was hired in 2002, So this marks my 19th year at SVA, and I have been at SVA ever since. So like all of you, I chose New York City, and like all of you, I chose SVA. And even though in the last 2 decades I've been asked to teach at Parsons and I've been asked to teach at SUNY Purchase, and even my alma mater Yale brought me back to teach, I've stayed at SVA and remained teaching here and became the chair 4 years ago. So I realized today that in actually preparing for today's remarks, it was a great chance for me to reflect on my own trajectory, to think about the choices that I've made, for you to all think about the choices that you've made. I hope that you'll really consider our program because I believe very strongly in my department. My staff that I work with every day are amazing. My faculty that I work with every day are amazing. And most importantly, the students that we've attracted are incredible. With that, I would like you to hear from our students directly. The next portion of our presentation today will be a student panel, which we're going to set up for now and we'll begin momentarily. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Talia Steinman. I'm the curriculum coordinator and assistant to the chair in the BFA Photo and Video department. I work directly with Joe, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today in person and for you to meet some of our incredible students right here on this stage. So they're going to tell you a bit more about their experience in the department. And to start off, I'm just going to ask that each of them introduce themselves, starting with Rebecca right here.
Thanks, Talia. So my name is Rebecca Steitner. I am in the graduating class of 2023. My pronouns are she, they, and I am originally from South Florida. The majority of my work remains within the fashion genre, mostly fashion portraits, studio, and on location. And although my work is very commercially focused, there are strong ties to performance and gender and drag.
Hello, my name is Kyle Warner. My pronouns are he, him. I'm originally from Nanuet, New York, so about 45 minutes from the city. My work includes kind of like a concept I've been working on called DIS, spelled D-I-S. And it's a different way of thinking about infinity, a different type of infinity. And I've been using it as a way to explore family history, my family being from the Caribbean, and using that concept to be explored through photography as well as other mediums that are allowed at the school.
And Kyle, what year are you in?
Sorry, I'm a third year.
Hi, my name is Johan Young. I'm a senior. My pronouns are he, him. Basically, my work is all documentary. I do photo and video, like documenting, especially right now, I'm documenting about my wife and myself, reflecting like almost from my freshman year to now, it's like everything has been keep changing, but mainly I focus on documentary.
Amazing, thank you everyone. And also I should mention my pronouns are she, her. So to start off, I'm gonna ask a question to you, Rebecca. I wanted to ask, why did you choose BFA Photo and Video at SVA?
Well, very similar to Joe, I wanted to be in New York, so that was definitely a driving force. But also, like Joe, I applied to a lot of schools. I think I applied to like 10 or 12, mostly in the Northeast area. And I ultimately chose SVA, one, because I went to the SVA pre-college program, so I got a bit of a preview about the photo and video department. And at the pre-college program, I sort of learned more about the curriculum and the facilities that the BFA photo and video department have to offer are ultimately what made my choice. Like I said in my intro, I am a very career-focused person. And SVA has a lot of classes that teach you about business practices, but are also just focused on a lot of different aspects of photo and video, as opposed to some other schools that were very like concept based. I know that I'm not that kind of artist, and the curriculum at SVA, I just knew was going to support me in the efforts that I wanted to make towards my eventual goal.
That's amazing to hear. And yeah, that is a testament to the fact that we offer many different types of tracks in the department through our curriculum. If you did want to study something more conceptually driven, there is also that option, but I'm so glad you found what you wanted with the facilities. Great. So next up, I wanted to ask you, Johan, since you are the senior of the bunch, could you think back to when you were in the audience's position as a prospective student? What would you give? What advice would you give to that person, knowing what you know now?
So I'll say I come from totally very different background. I wasn't doing anything art. I studied something different major, and I wanted to transfer to here because I got into photo and video more. If I can go back and tell myself, I'll tell him to kind of relax and enjoy more, to kind of think about what I really want to do in the college, because at first I just didn't know what to do, how to be an artist, and it just after a year comes it's just getting. If I can go back, I will say just relax. It was very hard for me to relax because there are so many things going on. But with students, friends, and faculties who are with me, they were able to help me to kind of grow more out of me. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, in terms of getting the most out of your experience, I did want to also touch on the fact that SVA is located in the heart of New York City. And so I wanted to hear, what is it like to go to art school in New York? And I was wondering if, Kyle, you could speak to that a bit.
Going to art school in New York is a wild experience, I think, because you have access to not only the galleries and the museums that are right around the corner from you, quite literally in some cases, but you also have access to the artists in the facility, and you're able to, like they were saying in the presentation before, you're able to go and see that and then come and bring that and reflect that in your own studio practice to be inspired. I also think, though, going to art school in New York City has been an amazing experience for myself because of all the opportunities through the school that I've been able to network and connect with outside artists, as well as on my own, just networking and being very proactive about that has been really influential and has been, I think, accelerated myself in the department beyond where I was freshman year, where I knew nothing about art or photography in general.
That's really exciting. And how do you network through the department?
Just reaching out to teachers, reaching out to fellow classmates. I've ended up with an internship because of a friend of mine who had networked through a class where she had reached out to a presenter in a class, had gotten an internship, and then I was friends with her and kind of got brought along with that. So those opportunities are there.
Amazing. Yeah, my next question actually was about opportunities, and clearly there is the opportunity to network through your instructors. And I know, Rebecca, you had mentioned that you got a gig through an instructor. Do you want to talk a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the instructors here at SVA, Zach Crevitt, teaches a few classes. I took one of his classes in my freshman year, and we just kind of vibed. We make work about very similar things in very similar spaces, and he started a nonprofit during the summer of 2020 called Towards Utopia, that is an arts and fundraising initiative that focuses sex workers and Black trans women. And they did a print sale in 2020, and when they were looking to expand and start some new projects, he contacted me and asked me if I would like to be a part of if I would intern for the company that he had made, the collective that he had created. And although it wasn't a paid position because it is such a small collective, I was able to get credit for it through school. For each semester, you can have one of your classes be, or you can get credit for your internship. There's a program that you basically like sign up for, and you have to do like a little weekly assignment. But it's really easy. And then I was doing work that was helping me network through not only with Zach, but through the internship. I was able to meet more people and gain that awesome life experience and those skills while also getting credit for it for school. So that was great.
Yeah, I actually bought a print from that print sale. That's great. So yeah, some of the other opportunities that we have through the department are exhibition opportunities. Kyle, do you want to speak a bit about any of those opportunities that you found?
Yeah, so in the department, currently there's the Becoming Show, which is up in the main building that myself and Rebecca are both a member of, where we made work in response to previous SVA alumni, and that is currently up. But there's also opportunities to exhibit in the department as well, in the department building specifically, as well as the SVA gallery space is something else where you can apply to. They have an open call every semester, and there's a number of gallery spaces throughout the school that I've exhibited in. A number of my friends have as well.
Awesome. And then, of course, there's working as a student worker in the department. Johan, you're currently doing that. What's that experience like?
Yes. I'm a very techy person, and I always wanted to work in digital and like equipment hub. So I started that on my second semester of my freshman year. And I think those opportunities were great because even though I knew some of the equipments I know how to handle, it was still difficult to know everything. But once I start working there, I was able to make more connections with faculty members who are working as a hub staffs. I was able to ask more, and I was able to interact with students more because I had to check out and check in the equipments they borrowed. I was able to just make some connections, and yeah, it's just very great opportunity. Oh, of course, you make money. I think that's one of the greatest things you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also check out a lot of equipment from the hub yourself for your own work, right?
Yes, I love like the equipments we have in our department because they're trying to do as much as they can to make everything fresh. Like they try to bring everything updated. Like if there's something like, let's say gimbal like stabilizer for video, we really needed that, and then after a semester they got more, and I was able to play with it because with my money I wasn't able to purchase anything big equipments because they're too expensive. But because you can check out them daily, you have great opportunity to play with everything if you are very interested. And they have great lightings. Everything's great about the department. I mean, because I love using all of the techs.
That's amazing to hear. And when you're coming over to our department facilities later, you'll be able to get more of a glimpse into the equipment and all of that we have available. But yeah, so my last question for the group is, could you think back to a memorable experience in the department that you would like to share, whether it be a specific class, specific experience with an instructor, an event, or also anything that like really shaped your practice in a specific class? So I'll just go in the line. Rebecca, do you want to go first?
Absolutely. So something that the department does every year, they even did last year during COVID, they did it on Zoom, is at the end of the year, Joe and the other staff members bring all the students together, and they basically sit down and say, all right, tell us what we did good, tell us what we did wrong. Do you have any questions? Do you have any grievances? And it's just a space for the students to talk and be heard. And I think that that's one thing that I know a lot of my other friends going to other schools feel like is lacking a lot of time is students having their voices be heard. And a lot of things that are brought up in those meetings are things that like eventually get resolved, or things that are made better, or things that change and evolve. And it's just an amazing space for the students to be heard. Again, I can't stress that enough. And during those meetings, you can also bring up stuff that's resolved in a way that you didn't even imagine that's why it was happening. So again, just you being able to say directly to the chair what you're thinking and have a response is really amazing.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you, Rebecca. Kyle?
I think one memorable experience that I have, and I think it's like, it was a really funny thing, which is in the department you have the opportunity to sit in on prospective classes that you might be interested in taking in future years. And this is with everyone being on COVID, and everything's a Zoom class. And there was a class that I was hoping to take this year. Unfortunately, wasn't able to happen, but I had sat in on this class, and it was a group of seniors, and I sat in on their final critique. And afterwards, I guess I enjoyed their critique and like the energy that class had so much that I ended up sitting on that same Zoom call. If the class was like started at 3, I was on the Zoom call with them until 2:00 in the morning, just talking about different things and like making like a really good bonds and friendships. And a lot of these seniors that they had graduated, I'm still very close with now, and we still connect and collaborate with in the future. And I think like that's just like a testament to like the different communities that you can find yourself in the department, but and also the school in general, which was a really interesting experience. And I kind of laugh at it as like, where were you guys when I needed other friends on Zoom, like this last second thing on the last week's of class. But it was I think one of my most memorable experiences here at SVA.
My memorable memories, basically, I took his class. It's called seminar. I think I just didn't know what to do until like my junior year, because again, like I was just struggling. Like I loved photo and I got into video more, but I just didn't know what path I want to do. But while I'm taking his class, like we discussed a lot. And first I showed my work. Like it wasn't something great, but I think that was a great starting point, like what I really wanted to do. So that's how I started more doing like documentary, photo and video, because I'm very like a deep thinker, and I was very glad that Joe was able to understand what I'm thinking, and he understands the varieties of like different field. I just don't know how he contains every info in his head, but it was just I was able to open myself more. I was able to be more vulnerable with my work and the way I'm discussing, and of course my classmates were helping me if there's something wrong, or not wrong, but if there's something that is not fitting into my work, they will definitely say this is not the way you want it to do, but they were able to helping me more. So in my senior year, I am able to I'm still looking and I'm still finding what I really wanted to do for later, but at least I can be more relaxed and think about what I like to do in this department. And yeah, I'm just keep creating my work.
I love that. And that really touches on the importance of our critique-based classes. We have a critique-based class every year, and seminar, which Johan just mentioned, is one of them. And that's really where a lot of your practice can get developed, by talking through it with your peers and your instructor. Awesome. So at this point, I would love to open up the panel to questions from the audience. So does anyone have a question for our esteemed students?
Testing.
Hi, I was wondering how long your studio classes are?
The main bulk of your studio classes are 3 hours, but the seminar class that I'm in now, the junior critique-based class, is 6 hours long, but the majority of your classes are going to be 3 hours.
Okay, and I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Thanks.
So I don't remember which one it was, but I know that one of you said you were a transfer student. You did, yeah, it was you. So what was that like coming in as a transfer? Because that's what I would be if I were to be here.
Yeah.
As far as like experience and also how your credits transferred.
So if you're transferring, definitely come here. Like, no regret. But it was very, like, I come from Oklahoma, so I wasn't able to come to open house, and I didn't have much info, but I was able to reach out as much as I can, because when it comes to something like I have to do, I become very active. I try to make phone calls, like sending emails to like many different, and even the department, but they were like responding very quickly. And I'm pretty sure you're thinking about the scholarship too. And like, if you have any question about like scholarship, like any opportunity that you're looking for, you just have to reach out, and they're gonna help you as much as they can. So I don't so the way after I got my scholarships, like even though they gave me great amount, I was still thinking if there was another chance, if I can do something more, and I just reach out. It can be very case by case, but for me, I was able to reach out more, and then they asked me for more portfolio, and then I gave them more, and then they were able to help me with more scholarships. So again, and then transfer credit wise, you just have to submit your official transcript to the admissions. But if there's some credits that you think didn't transfer, you can also challenge them. Like if you have their syllabus, make sure to maintain that. Sometimes they ask you for those syllabus, then they can, you can give them as sort of like an evidence.
Okay, last question.
I just wanted to ask how you like set up your portfolio. Like, how long did it take you to do? How thoroughly did you have to think about what you were submitting before you submitted it?
For me, I went to an arts high school, so I was already making a lot of work my 4 years. So my portfolio that I submitted with had some work that I submitted for Young Arts, some work that I had in my AP portfolio, some work that I did at the pre-college program. So I had a lot of opportunities where I was making work that kind of was along the same general idea. I would say when you're making work, definitely start sooner rather than later, because also not every piece that you make is going to be worthy of the portfolio. Like when you have a certain idea set up, you might make work later on that like beats out the old work. So definitely start sooner rather than later, and definitely you are ahead of the curve, but start thinking about sort of your practice as a whole and what you want your work to do. Do you see yourself more being on gallery walls or in magazines? Just start thinking about those things, not necessarily saying you have to decide those things now, but having them in the back of your mind so that they can inform what you're doing, definitely would recommend. But in terms of timeline, sooner rather than later.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. At this time, we're going to be beginning departures to the BFA Photo and Video Department. Just please stay seated. I'm going to call out your group number, or group letter, rather. You're going to head down the stairs. You're going to take a right, and that's where all the shuttles going to BFA Photo and Video will be located. So just stay seated, and I'll be calling out your group letters. So Group A.
Right before you call that out, Jake, I just want
Oh, sorry, Joe.
to say, is this one working? I want to personally thank our 3 students who are here, who on a Saturday morning came to actually be here. So thank you all so much for that. And I'd also like to thank my colleague, Talia Steinman, who has led a really informative panel. Thank you, Talia.
Thank you, everybody.
And I'd like to, again, personally invite you all to come to our facility. I'm going to be there. Talia's going to be there. A lot of our colleagues will be there. I'd like to get to know you personally. Come by, ask me a question. We'll be there until about 1:15, 1:30. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, and back to you, Jake.
Okay, thanks, Joe. All right, so Group A, you're going to get up, head down the stairs. You're going to take a right. There will be students showing you the way to go. Okay, Group B, you're up.